ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जलिशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we will continue to discuss from the 20th verse of the 16th chapter of the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the fifth part of the discussion on this verse from the purport, because it's a very big purport. So we were discussing about the degradation in Kali Yuga due to people becoming godless, and they become faithless, and they are unrestricted in meat eating, and they don't follow the Vedic principles because they think they can't believe, or they are not superstitious. Various reasons they give like that. So here Srila Prabhupada says that people in this age, they suffer in Kali Yuga because they don't perform any sacrifice, yajna. So Prabhupada says the Mlecha population will care very little for performance sacrifices, although performance of sacrifice is essential for persons who are materially engaged in sense enjoyment. What's the reason for all suffering in this material world? Is our sinful activities. What are sinful activities? For the sake of satisfying my senses, I don't care for any restrictions or regulations or rules that are actually enforced in this material world. I don't care for them, or either I'm ignorant, or even if I have knowledge, I don't bother about it. So therefore, those who are engaged in sense enjoyment, material sense enjoyment, which is majority of the population, they have to perform yajna in order to become free from sinful reactions. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, yajnarthat karmanaha anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If work is done as sacrifice, as it is directed in the authentic scriptures, then you don't become bound up by sinful reactions. You don't become bound up by reactions. Otherwise, those who don't perform yajna but keep on doing some work for their different purposes, they become bound up more and more and more and more, and get entangled in material existence and forced to suffer against their wish. Suffering is forced on them, they don't want. And even if they try to avoid, they cannot avoid. They try to avoid suffering, but they cannot. That's called material reaction. It is forced on somebody who is not performing yajna. So Bhagavad Gita says, you want to avoid suffering, you want to get free from the future reactions, then now you stop all sinful activities, follow the injunctions of the scriptures, and perform work as yajna. So Srila Prabhupada says that this world is created in such a way that for maintaining the living beings, there is the system of working according to one's guna and karma. Guna karma, varnashrama. Varnashrama is the way of classifying the civilized human beings into 4 social orders and 4 spiritual orders. And thereby they do the appropriate kind of work for maintaining themselves, for earning their livelihood, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and they also follow the restrictions of the scriptures in the work they do, what they eat, how they dress, how they interact with other fellow human beings, and what is their ultimate goal, what should be their ultimate goal in life. Everything is directed, is regulated, is instructed in the scriptures. So then they become free from the sinful reactions of the past. They don't accumulate any fresh reactions, and they become purified. For example, we have to eat to survive, but eat only vegetarian food. That also, after preparing the vegetarian food, it has to be offered to Krishna as yajna, sacrifice. And then yajna shishta ashinaha santaha. Devotees always offer food for sacrifice called naivedya, offering to Krishna, and then partake the remnants as prasadam, Krishna prasadam. So by eating Krishna prasadam, you are purified of the old reactions and you don't get any fresh reactions. Rather, you develop your bhakti. So this is the way of performing yajna in the matter of eating, worshipping Krishna and offering him foodstuff which we have cooked, only vegetarian foodstuff, and that also cooked without any contamination, in a pure way, cooking in a pure way. So that is, now it is said that there will be sufficient grains, agricultural produce, if there are proper rains. And proper rainfall is dependent on performing sacrifice. So if people perform sacrifice, there will be, because it says Parjanyad Anna Sambhavaha in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says this. Parjanya means rain. Yajnad Bhavati Parjanya. Rainfall, proper rainfall, not too much, not too little. Proper rainfall is possible only by performance of yajna. If people perform yajna, there will be proper rainfall. If there is proper rainfall, there will be proper production of grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And then there will be plenty of food, all edibles for the human beings and the animals also. So, the mlechas, they don't grow proper food grains, or if they grow food grains, they use that to feed the livestock. They feed the cows, they feed the chickens, and then they slaughter them for their own food. They eat chicken flesh or cow flesh. Instead of growing some grains and vegetables and themselves eating, and also leaving the remnants for the other creatures like chickens and cows, instead of that, they misuse their superior position in society. The dumb animals, the innocent animals, they are killed unnecessarily. So this is the anomaly in Kali Yuga. But people must know that there is severe sinful reactions for cow killing, for unnecessarily killing even a chicken, unnecessarily killing, when there is plenty of food grains. After all, the same grains they are using to feed the livestock. Why don't you eat the grain instead of feeding the chicken or the cow and then killing that poor animal and then eating the flesh? Why do you do this? So therefore, by spiritual culture, by spiritual education, by spiritual training, a person can actually change his or her life and become peaceful, become happy, become free from sinful reaction, become free from suffering, and have a very bright future. All that is possible. So, sacrifice means to please Vishnu. And how to please Vishnu? By practice of Bhakti Yoga, the most feasible type of sacrifice. Sankirtan Yajna, the sacrifice of chanting and hearing the holy name of Krishna, the sacrifice of worshipping Krishna, deity of Krishna, or picture of the deity of Krishna. All these methods of practicing bhakti are called different varieties of sacrifices performed in Bhakti Yoga. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, all these are sacrifices performed by Bhakti Yogis. When we chant Hare Krishna, we are performing sacrifice to Vishnu, called the Kirtana sacrifice, Sankirtana sacrifice, Sankirtan Yajna. When we hear the Bhagavatam, we are performing Shravana sacrifice, Shravanam sacrifice, hearing. Hearing what? About Vishnu, about Vishnu's devotees, about Vishnu's glorious activities, like that. So, this is the sacrifice that is most recommended. It is simple, it is effective, it is very, very powerful, and easily performed by anyone, any human being, without any previous qualification. Therefore, that is what is being recommended here by Prabhupada, that Lord Chaitanya, he recommended only one type of yajna, that is Sankirtan Yajna, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing the Bhagavatam, offering nice vegetarian food stuff to Krishna and partaking the remnants, Krishna Prasadam. This kind of Sankirtan Yajna will benefit everyone in society. It's feasible, it's practical, it is easy to perform, it does not require any qualification. But if instead of chanting Hare Krishna, somebody thinks I'll chant Gayatri Mantra, that requires qualification. Only a qualified Brahmana can chant Gayatri Mantra and derive the spiritual benefit of chanting. If you chant Hare Krishna, do you get the benefit regardless of what your qualification may be? It doesn't demand any qualification. Chanting Hare Krishna does not demand any qualification. So therefore, please chant Hare Krishna. Don't chant any other mantra. And don't eat simply anything you like. Eat only vegetarian food after offering that to Krishna. How do you offer to Krishna? You just prepare without tasting and adding the proper ingredients, the vegetarian ingredients, and then that has to be the prepared portion, a portion of the prepared food has to be kept in a particular bowl or a plate in front of a picture or deity of Krishna, and then you pray to Krishna, please accept this offering. You can just say this in English or your own language. Better still, you pray to Krishna to accept the offering by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 3 times you chant. And then leave that for 5 minutes in front of the picture or the deity of Krishna. And after 5 minutes, you take it out and you mix it with whatever you have cooked. And then that becomes prasadam. remnants of what is offered to Krishna. That becomes prasadam. That prasadam you partake and you are completely purified by taking that prasadam, and you are also freed from, you don't get any fresh sinful reactions. That is the way. So this Krishna consciousness is the way for actually becoming free from all sinful activities, purifying our old sinful reactions, and ushering in peace and prosperity for ourselves and everyone else. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.